Hey, what's up, gardeners and farmers? This is Chuck Schembre here with Understanding Ag, and I wanted to talk about a simple composting system that I like to use. I just built a new three-compartment composting system here. It's winter time in the high desert, and I just think winter time's a phenomenal time to make compost, high quality compost for the next season. So let me show you a system that's pretty well known and show you how to put together a simple composting system, whether it be on your residential property or homestead, or even a good sizable farm if you want to create some quality compost. So let me show you this new low-cost system that I put together here, and I'm just starting to construct some compost piles. I'm going to show you how I do that and the different feed stock materials I use. So I know people are probably pretty familiar with this. This is a three-compartment composting system. I believe it was originally called the Indore Method that Sir Albert Howard illustrated in his book, The Soil and Health of the Agricultural Testament. But now it's just kind of the standard setup that you'll often see. So I'm starting to construct a pile here in the middle. I'm going to show you what I'm doing there. You can really produce a lot of good material from a setup like this. And as you can see, I've got pallets. Went over to a warehouse yard not too far from my house, scrummaged through, picked up some quality pallets, and I've got 7 pallets here, 3 in the back, 4 that construct the walls, and then I'll show you the front screen panel that I put together. I'll show that probably near the end of this video. But what I've found is important is when you construct these pallets, people often usually want to flip them the other way so that if you want to call these the 2x4s, they're not 2x4s, but 3x2s or whatever. Often they're on the ground, and that creates a system that has like a lower wall. What I've done is I flip them the other way so they're a little bit taller. And what that allows me to do, I got some stuff here we'll talk about. What that allows me to do is really simply be able to screw in to some solid wood. And, basically you just do that anywhere you can. I do it in different, you can see another one right there. So everything's really nice and sturdy. None of this is staked down or anything like that. Leave enough room on the fence line here to be able to walk in the back. And then I go get this galvanized wire. This is a 3 foot wide by 25 foot wire you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's. And what I do first is before I construct this whole system, I put the wire mesh on each panel individually at a time. If you construct this whole thing and then try to put the wire on, it's much more difficult. It's not as secure. It becomes kind of messy. It pops off. So the first thing you do is you put this on to each individual panel. It doesn't have to go all the way up. If you want to be really precise and have this perfect setup, you could purchase. Usually these wire come in 3 feet by 25. So this is just me keeping things as low cost as possible. I just use some heavy duty staples here, and I just staple it in every so often. It doesn't have to be perfect. The compost will kind of pin it, but you want to put enough so that it can't come off. You can see it's not perfect. If you're a construction worker, you probably want to do this a little bit better. So I'm moving some half-finished compost here. I'm moving my whole compost pile to another part of the property, basically away from the garden, because mice and rodents like to come into it. I had it fairly close to the garden, so now it's on another side of the property. So I'll show you what we do here. Is just imagine that this pile is in the first compartment on the left there, and we're flipping it to the middle one. This will be the midway finished. As you can see, a lot of this is pretty well broken down. And once we flip it into the middle, we want to do a layering. So I've got a pile here. It looks like wood chips, but actually it's a bunch of horse manure. I just throw wood chips on the top. So this is all free. It's from our horse. Just stage a pile over here. And then I've got wood chips, a lot of wood chips from a tree that we took down on the property. You can pick up wood chips. You can get wood chips delivered for free from most tree companies, the tree trimming companies. Let's see here. I like to have some alfalfa or straw or something as well that I'll layer into this. And here's some just clippings here. Got a nice basketball from the kids. Got just some clippings left over from mowing the lawn. And so as we're putting this compost into the middle compartment here, I'll just start layering it with material. And then as you're doing that, you want to have some water. As I'm layering it, I'm watering as well. So we'll show you that process. Just dump some half-finished compost. Actually, what probably looks way more complete to most people, but there's still a bunch of undecomposed material in here. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put different layered materials on here and give it some water while I'm doing that. Now that it's filling up quite a bit, I'll show you this panel screen that I've made that's so simple. In the past, I've done this with doors in the front with hinges, and usually I put something on top, which I believe I will do that here. It is good to have something on top that either blocks out the sun if you're in a really dry climate, or to block out rain if you're in a really moist climate, because you want to keep this pile moist but not extremely saturated, and you certainly don't want it to dry out. So anyways, but talking about the front panel here, this is just something really simple I threw together with some cheap wood that I had laying around. Put the screen on the front. Again, it doesn't go all the way up. I'm trying to keep costs pretty low. I don't feel, all I've done here is just taken these real simple, I don't think these are called tea stakes. I forget what you call these garden green stakes, and I just put those in place to hold this. You can see there, very, very, very simple. And I like this because then when I need to manage the pile, I just can slide it right up, move it out of the way, open the whole thing up. I don't have to deal with doors. If you put doors there with hinges, you open them up, they end up getting in the way. They don't open up really well because the pile, all the material that accumulates down here always prevents the doors from opening well. So I found this to be the simplest, most low cost effort. The other thing is you don't really need to remove this very often, so it doesn't really make sense to build doors. But if you want to go ahead and make your system look real fancy, go for it. Because in this video I've built a brand new 3-compartment compost setup here, I went ahead and built piles right away with material that I had on site. So the 2 compartments to the right are filled up and layered as an example, but I want to make sure everyone understands how the concept of this 3-compartment composting system works. So on the far left, the first compartment, we start with inputting fresh material, anything that you have, garden scraps, kitchen scraps. I like to put in fresh green plant material, obviously from the garden, leaves, woody material, fresh wood chips, and this is where you can put manure in as well. So you're going to fill this up to the top, or as much as you can fill it up, and also timing around when you're going to need compost. If you need to generate some compost, you're going to flip this over to the second compartment. And when you flip it over to the second compartment, you're going to begin layering the material. So as you're flipping everything over into the second compartment, you want to begin layering it. So hopefully you have a pile of some grass clippings. This is where you can put more fresh material, and that green material, high in nitrogen, it's going to help really activate and start heating up the material. Now in the first compartment on the left, you already would have been generating some heat over time as the pile builds up. But once you flip it over into the second compartment, this is where you can really start heating up that pile and getting it to break down quickly and activate that microbial population. This is another opportunity to add more fresh material, woody material, manures. I like to add material that's already a little bit decomposed. If you've got a pile of wood chips, pull it from the middle. Maybe you have manure that's been sitting around that's in a pile as well. In the second compartment, you can also turn it once or twice in the middle there if you want to keep it breaking down faster, but that's optional. And the next step is we're going to begin flipping it over to the last bin. So the last bin on the far right, I call this the finishing bin. This is where you're going to flip everything over from the second bin. Layering again, you can add some more green, some grass clippings, some rotten alfalfa, anything green. It's going to activate it a little bit more, but once you've flipped it over into this last bin, it's already going to look broken down really well. So this is the finishing or the curing stage. It is going to heat up again. Don't worry if it doesn't heat up too much. And ideally, you let it sit and cure here for at least a month, multiple months. The longer you can let it sit and cure, the more you're gonna build that fungal population in this last bin. So, in summary, starting on the far right starting on the far left, this is the fresh material. We flip it over, starts breaking down a little bit more. It's kind of midway decomposed, and then it flips over to the final bin. You can build these systems as big as you want to. If you wanted to build 5, 6, 7, 8 compartments, you could and keep flipping them over. But this 3-bin system right here will generate you a lot of good compost, and it's a really nice, simple, strategic, kind of systematic method. And again, the key to this is browns and greens layered. Don't have to overthink it. Keep it moist. Don't let it be too moist. And make sure you let this final compartment here cure for about a month, and you'll get yourself some really good high quality compost. Okay, so it's been about a week or so since I built this, and I've got piles made. So we're going to just take a quick look at them. And the furthest one on the right, I have a soil thermometer probe in there to look at the temperature. So again, this is the fresh stuff, as you can see. And then because I just built this pile and I had a lot of material, I used some of the all the material I have with alfalfa, little horse manure, and wood chips. And if you get down in there, there's actually some fresh there's some fresh stuff in there from the kitchen, but we're going to put a probe in there. I'll show you what's going on there. And then over here, I really built this pile up and kind of follow a Johnson Sioux style approach where things are really layered up. It's winter time, so I'm not too worried about keeping this fully covered for the moisture. When summertime comes, I like to put a cover over this. Again, I'm in the high desert, so it doesn't rain a whole lot, so I'm not too worried about over moisture. But so it's been about a week, and let's see if we can see this where it says PRB. That's the probe. It says 162 degrees. So it's about 35 degrees outside right now, and you can see the biology is really active right now. You see all that white look. If I back up, you might be able to see some heat coming off that. So the point is it's winter time, it's January, and I'm making compost out here in a pretty cold climate. Now these tubes here that are perforated, it's kind of this modified sort of Johnson Sioux. You know, I've built piles without them, they've done good, and when I build piles with them, they seem to do a little bit better. So I'm gonna pull these out pretty soon, and you know, it just allows that aeration, I guess, to occur. And again, I'm not trying to go for this complete Johnson Sioux style composting, but this is heating up, so it's thermophilic right now, and then I just let it all cool down and let this sit for 6 months or so before I use it. And we'll take a look at that, I guess, in 6 months, and I'll show you some simple compost tea methods and extracts, and how I use this stuff on the garden and the fruit trees. Okay, well that wraps it up right now here in January with the compost making, and I'm gonna improve this pile a little bit more, this simple, low cost pallet structure. Anyways, I hope that this video just inspired people to make a real high quality compost setup using minimal material, cheap material. Remember, I used free pallets. I bought a few things at Home Depot, like the metal galvanized wire, mesh wire, so I can lock in all the compost, keep rodents out. I built the screen in the front, kept it simple, no hinges and all that, something I can just pull away and easily be able to shovel things around. A lot of the material I got free horse manure, I got free rotten alfalfa bales from a local farmer, I got wood chips from trees that I've brought down on the property. And again, if you don't have that, you can usually find free chips or at a very marginal cost. I find those 3 components are key in using other things. I forgot to mention leaves falling from the property. I did throw a lot of leaves in here, leaf mulch. So use your free materials, start building your compost piles way before the gardening season. Let them heat up, let them sit and rest, build that fungal component, and just in my perspective, let's keep this fun and let's not overthink it too much. And yeah, you'll be happy with the results. If you're looking at doing this on a larger scale and getting more serious about it, having some more precise composting methods on farm, I can certainly help you with that and the different compost tea and extract systems that exist, and even some DIY options on the farm scale. Take care, everyone. Happy farming and gardening.